All right, today we're going to build a hollow body rosewood top tele. First things first, we're going to screw the template on. And we're going to take this wood boring bit and drill out a whole section of the guitar. This will help lighten up before I get to the routing. And get the vacuum and vacuum up. I put that piece of tape on the bit so I know how far to go down. This just speeds up the process before I go to actually get the router out. So we'll use this bit on all three sides here. I haven't narrated a tele body build like this. That's why I'm doing this video here today. This rosewood top is the review of the East Indian rosewood that I did. It's a beautiful top. Here, after using that bit, we're going to take this to the drill press, and with a larger size bit, we're going to drill some more out. Can't put this bit in the drill, but you can put it in the drill press. So we'll go through and lighten this up even a little bit more. So we'll go ahead and speed this up. And next what we're going to do is we're going to route this. So I get my template bit. It's got a collet on there with a 1/2 inch bit. And we're going to go ahead and route. We're going to take a small section here at first. Use the vacuum and really try and vacuum this up. Keep the body somewhat clean. Doing a hollow body is definitely a significant mess, even with the vacuum attachment. So what I'll do there is go around the outside, and I've got a gouge then that I'll go ahead and tap out as much as I can so it makes routing easier. So see, I cleaned up a decent amount there. I'll just go back and forth and clean this up. So I got a nice clean route. Then we'll do the same thing in the middle cavity. We'll route down on the outsides. And we'll get that gouge and tap some of this out. This makes life so much easier. And then the center cavity is done. We route the far left cavity as well. But then I wanted to take out these blocks and get that piece of wood to really resonate with the guitar. So we're going to get my shark saw. We're going to cut off those center blocks. And we're just going to tap them out here next. And then we'll get a chisel, clean some of this up. Knock down the edges, pull anything up that's loose. And then we'll get the router bit to clean all this up. And just be careful so it doesn't dip. Just really cleaning up the edge. And then next we'll work on the top here. We're going to take this to the joiner upstairs. Run this through, very small pass that I take, about less than a 1/16 usually. I don't like getting any tear out, so I leave the joiner set really high. Then we'll run a bead of glue at my clamping station here. Just going to use plain old yellow Titebond. Run the bead of glue down, use my finger to spread it out. And this guitar top came sawn already, and I wanted to join it. One side was a tad thicker than the other. So I wanted to join it before I took it to the sander. I use all these clamps, those deep reach clamps, to keep the center tight. And then I've got some Craftsman clamps that pull the center together. Then next we're going to take this to the drum sander. This is my WoodTech 25-inch drum sander. If you're doing a lot of tops, this is a must. This is a great tool. I don't use both drums, I just use one. I've got 120 grit loaded on it. And we'll just take a couple of passes. Make sure it looks good. And when I'm sanding, I'll sand the glue off as well from the seam. Push this through a couple times, take less than a 1/16 off each time. Just a real light pass. Goes through a number of times, looks all cleaned up. Then we're going to screw the template on the top. And we'll cut this out. For some reason that video didn't take. We'll cut it out as close as we can to the template. Then go to my custom router table. And essentially just create the template out of the top. And then we'll take that top and we'll glue that onto the body. So we'll screw this in. Get the type bond. Do it through that center block. This body's routed down about 1 inch, maybe a little bit more. So I've reduced the weight by about 25 to 30%. In total, this guitar is about 3.6 pounds in total. So we'll screw this in, and then we'll take this over to my custom wine press with a bunch of boards and rebar to hold the guitar clamped down securely. So after 24 hours, after it's dried, we'll take this to the bandsaw. And again, key is to cut as close as you can to the top template without actually cutting it. And so now that I've got the top as the template, I know where to cut, and we'll just go ahead and slowly go around, get everything cleaned up, cut out. And then we'll take this to the router. And route this as well. And then just off to the left here, I've got a vacuum hood, essentially. My dust collector, I've got a dust collector in the basement. And for the most part, it takes all those chips out as long as you aim it towards it. Then we take our top template with the neck template. We'll set this at between 3/4 and 5/8. Get it set and route. And with these depth control routers, this makes life so much easier. Just go through and really route this quickly. I've got the whole template set on this type of template, so I can do the pickup control and the neck all at once. Makes life so much easier. Keep everything clean. So here's how that bit works with that template. The bushing just sits on top and holds it within the holes, and I'll come back with a different router with a top bearing bit and clean it up. So I use 2 routers here. Next then we'll get this drill bit and drill through for the control wires. Then we'll take this upstairs and route this with my Colt router and an 1/8 inch bit. You can see it just cleans it up nicely. Take that router and run it around. And next we have a lot of sanding. This is 240 grit. And what we're going to do is just sand Sand the back, sand the top, get everything all cleaned up. This is the initial phase of sanding, pulling the sanding marks off from the drum sander. We'll flip this back and forth. I do all the aggressive sanding outside. This is my downdraft table next to my dust collector, so it keeps everything nice and clean. And next we're going to mark the top for drilling the bridge. And here we're just going to pop the template on, line it up, and drill out the top just about a 1/4 of an inch way down in the rosewood top. That way I can take this over to the drill press and drill it full the way down. So I mark the screw holes as well. Here what I do in the drill press is I drill the outsides. I drill the 2 outsides. And this helps me match up the back. What I'll do is I'll then come back and drill the inside holes almost all the way through. What I'll do is I get the template and drill through. And this keeps those 6 holes in the back perfectly lined up. That way I don't punch through. I use that template on the back to keep this all clean. And you've got 6 perfectly lined up holes. So then we'll take my 16-inch bit and drill the mounting screws. And that way we're all set here. We'll just speed this up here. Then next we'll take this over to the drill press and drill out the neck holes. It's pretty easy work with this template. It's all lined up, pop it in, and just drill. I go back and forth, take little passes. Then we're going to drill the output jack here. And I've got a centering template with a 1/4 inch hole. Just going to tap this. Got a nice mark. And I use a couple of drill bits to get this to drill clean. Got this big brad point bit that I'll use first. This keeps the outside really clean and there's no walking. Then I'll go back and grab a bit about half that size, drill out the center, and then come back with a Forstner bit. And then this Forstner bit keeps everything clean. Get a nice hole. So then lastly, we're going to do lots of sanding. And since I've got that long template router bit, the sides are nice and clean and routed. Don't need to take that to the edge sander. But I've just got this sanding block and 320 grit sandpaper and just getting everything cleaned up. So lots of sanding, get this done. I do this inside because I've got better lighting. I can see any of the scratches on the wood or any imperfections that need to be cleaned up. Also, I'm doing this on a towel, so I'm not going to get any scratches or dings. We'll then move up in grit. We'll use 400 grit, and then lastly we'll use some 600 grit. So lots of back and forth, just getting this all clean. All in, I probably got maybe an hour into this body. So then here's the finished guitar body. I did 2 light coats of teak oil. I really wanted the wood to breathe. Didn't want to put a heavy coat of anything on. It's a nice, beautiful one-piece back. Great coloring. Really love working with rosewood. Expensive wood, but will have an awesome tone. Beautiful looking piece. Really happy with the way this turned out. I've got a new website up, guys. Go take a look at it. This one's for sale right now. Thanks for watching. See you on the next vid.